Have you ever searched for pose references on Pinterest but were disappointed because all of them look forced? Or maybe you were trying to depict a character only to end up frustrated because they look like a staged doll. Are you trying to capture poses that look more like this, or this, rather than this, or this? How do you get these references, and how do you practice capturing them? Worry not, my mate, and straddle up, because today I will give you my tips on how to draw organic, candid poses that feel natural. Okay, enough yapping, onto drawing. With the rise of Pinterest, pose albums, and 3D modeling software, finding poses has become easier than ever. However, you might have probably noticed that most of the search results for pose references will give you models performing a specific pose. Although this might be useful in very specific cases such as extreme angles or fantasy situations, a common drawback of posed references is their stiffness. This is because the model might not be necessarily doing an action which warrants that type of movement. For example, a posed walking reference might not consist of the model actually walking, but rather them putting one foot in front of the other. Yes, this means that the pose will come out cleaner and clearer, but it does take away from the organic shifts in our posture and in our muscle movement when we do something. Instead, I would recommend 3 alternatives for more organic pose references: movie screen caps, candid photography, and theater performances. Let's take one at a time. Movie screen caps are, well, screen caps for movies. It is very easy to find them across Pinterest or make some of your own by screenshotting your favorite movies. Besides being useful in getting depictions of actions ranging from drinking coffee to epic fights, movie scenes can come in particularly handy if you are on the look for extreme camera angles such as top-down or bottom-up. You can also take your use of movie screen caps further by analyzing the composition of the frame that you are referencing. This might give you some interesting ideas of how to harmoniously put your character within a scene. Candid photography, on the other hand, is an umbrella term, depicting photos that are captured spontaneously. These can include snapshots from different sports matches, photos taken randomly at events, or photographs of people simply living their life out in the world. These are especially great if you are looking to niche down quickly to, say, a pose of a person playing rugby or someone sitting on a chair reading a book. Furthermore, if you are looking for poses that contain interactions between multiple subjects, this type of reference source would be your best shot. Another benefit would include a diversity of faces, body types, ages, and backgrounds present in candid photos, as they are simply snapshots of people just being people. Before we jump into what I consider to be the best overall place to find natural-looking poses, I would like to acknowledge that sometimes finding organic poses can be really time-consuming. To get you started on your journey, I have linked below a Pinterest board that I have made specifically for this video, in which I included over 100 pose references that cover loads of things such as sitting, walking, running, fighting, and interactions. Let me know if you like the board by dropping a star emoji down below. This way, I know whether I should keep adding to it in the future. The last source of natural pose references, and my own favorite, is theater performance. Most of the time, theater performances are dramatic, which means that you will be able to get more dynamic and exaggerated poses that still have a meaning behind them. The actors do an amazing job at exaggerating their motions and their facial expressions, which really makes it a lot easier to understand how things move on the face and on the body. In my opinion, theater performances combine the best of both worlds from both candid photography and from movie screen caps. I mean, you have the exaggerated poses of movies while still having that particular human organic element from candid photos. Furthermore, most theater photography is made at a very basic angle, meaning that theater photographs are really beginner friendly and you don't really need to struggle with perspective in the beginning. After you have gathered all of your references, it is time to get to practice. Yay! I must confess, I am nowhere near as comfortable drawing bodies as I am drawing portraits. I am still a beginner at drawing bodies, but I will give you my practice routine and some tips for capturing natural poses. As you might have seen throughout the video, I am mainly focusing on blocking in the general shapes of the body throughout boxes, cylinders, and spheres. I usually pay close attention to the overall line of action of the subject that I am drawing, and I also focus on the lines formed by the shoulders, the hips, and the limbs. This is really useful in making sure that my studies do not end up looking like stick figures. Furthermore, if I end up doing an interaction pose, so with more than 2 subjects, which I for some reason ended up doing a lot of in this video, I also pay attention to the difference in position and how the arms and the skin interacts when one character is touching the other. Lastly, from the beginning, I have decided that I want to put time constraints on whatever body study I do since I am so early in my development. In this case, my limit was 10 minutes for each drawing, which, by my calculations, was enough to determine the general silhouette of the picture and maybe refine some body parts that are presented in perspective. Overall, this stops me from trying to put in too much thought into the details and only focus on the bare bones. With time, my plan is to slowly increase my limit for drawing bodies and start refining them even more. Maybe start adding in faces a bit more. In this case, I merely just blocked out the head so I can have a reference for the size of the body. But again, I'm just increasing it little by little as I go, as to not feel overwhelmed. Reflecting back on the work that you have seen throughout the video, I cannot say that I'm fully satisfied with my outputs. I can see a lot of improvement points. But hey, the point of this video was not for me to be condescending. It was just for me to give you some tips on this new thing that I'm learning and to show you that it's okay to not do well from the first time, and that sometimes, people are just not good at things in the first instance. You might be feeling the same, and this is literally the reason why I chose to include this in the voiceover. And although I don't know how long it will take you to get to the point where you want to be, there is one thing that I know for sure. As long as you keep doing it consistently and you identify your improvement points and you logically think about how the body should move, in time you will see incremental, small improvements. If you have made it to the end of this video, thank you very much. It means a lot to me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!